Running a COIL project was career changing for me because it made me think about and experience teaching, learning and assessment in a completely different way.
It was really interesting to be talking to somebody from a different institution about how they engage with their students. So for example, a lot of the stuff that we talked about was around that, that personal connection with the students, how we are communicating with them at a personal level to ensure that we can facilitate that kind of harmonious engagement on these types of group experiences.
And it's helped me to think about and practice teaching, learning and assessment in a completely new way.
I'm one of those people that I don't think there's challenges, I think there's opportunities to do things in different ways. I think one of the most important things to focus on is how you allow the students to develop those personal relationships as they go through, particularly when you're using this on an online platform where they're not physically getting to meet one another.
We have our usual scheduling and personality differences, which can sometimes affect the team. But in addition to that, we have time zone differences, potentially cultural differences, and sometimes language differences as well. And so to overcome those challenges, it's really important to spend quite a bit of time at the start of the project socialising with students and the teams.
It's really important that you look for activities and ways that you can get them to engage either in video chats or getting them posting up information about themselves.
So what we did in one of my COIL projects was we asked the students to create very short video introductions to themselves using their mobile phones and to upload it to the shared platform. And that seemed to really help break the ice a little bit.
In terms of the benefits for the students, I think there's a myriad of benefits that they get from this. They are developing their team working skills. And I think particularly given the global nature we see of business today, working in these culturally diverse teams allows them to then be prepared for going out to that in the workspace.
I found it very useful from an employability perspective, not least because of the transversal skills that the students develop during the project, but also because it involves real-world experiential learning. So it enables the students to apply theory to practice in a meaningful and enjoyable way. And very often COIL projects will involve hypothetical or live client scenarios, so it can really help to solve real-world problems at the same time.
I think for me, one of the biggest benefits that they get out of this though is that developing some of the softer skills that we're looking for in industry. So things like that empathy, that individual-centred approach, understanding of the different sort of challenges that other people might be facing as well, I think was for me such a big thing for them to take out of that situation as well.
With everything that's happened in the pandemic, some of the collaboration platforms that have always been used in COIL projects like Zoom, for example, in Teams, are now fairly commonplace. So actually it's easier now than it ever was to involve students in different universities around the world in these kind of projects. But the other big positive for students is the development of transversal skills. So all the things which we are often told by employers that are very important: leadership, taking the initiative, problem solving, creativity, but also interpersonal communication skills, teamwork and empathy for other people's viewpoints.
The other thing is that they then have this digital upskilling in terms of using these types of platforms that allow for collaboration with documentation, presentations. We had a practice where we would actually change the team lead on a weekly basis. On the start of a week, a new team leader would come in. So we were helping them to develop their leadership skills as well.
I think the main thing that I've learned from doing COIL projects is how to do teaching across borders, across more than one institution simultaneously. I've been able to show to myself that that is actually possible, and more so it's possible to embed it into an existing module quite easily and to still fulfill the learning outcomes of that module. So it's broadened my mind around what's possible to do in the context of a module and in the classroom.
So in terms of the lessons learned and any tips I would give, the main one is that team building right at the beginning. I think you need to spend quite a bit of time letting the teams get to know one another. And the other thing that I would say is ensure that you do develop some sort of, or the group develops some sort of a contract in terms of what their expectations are in the team working.
In terms of my own professional development, another big bonus for me has been on the research side. So 3 of the other countries that I've been working with, together we have produced several conference papers, journal articles, and more recently we have co-edited and authored a textbook about COIL together.